Hello and welcome to Relatively Crafty, a knitting podcast. I am your host, Christy. I come to you from the Denver area of Colorado, where I live with my husband, Ron, and our two daughters, Tatum, who is 13, and Delaney, who is 10, and our tuxedo cat, Lilu, who is sniffing all of the yarn in my basket right now. Apparently it's extra sheepy. If you're looking for me, you can find me on Ravelry as Cristi-Lael and on Instagram and Goodreads as Cristi-Lael without the dash. I put those down below in the show notes, which should hopefully come up, in the next 24 hours. Within the next 24 hours, there should be show notes down below, and I put the spellings for my name down there because, my names are spelled strangely. So we also have a Relatively Crafty Podcast group on Ravelry where we have knit-alongs and giveaways and chatter. We are having our current knit-along, which is the wonderful winter warm-up KAL, which goes about a little bit over a month, or just shy of a month, I guess. I think it's March 19th is the last day. It's going for the entirety of winter, and the idea with that is that you either knit something or crochet something, anything out of worsted weight or heavier yarn, or you make a blanket. And with the blanket, it can be any weight, and it can be a whip. With the worsted weight or heavier, I ask that they not be whips. So yeah, get that stuff in there. We've got lots of FOs in there as well, or not as well, but already. And I want to say that there will be a prize drawn through a random number generator for both the FO thread and the chatter thread, so don't feel like you have to finish something in order to be eligible for a prize. Okay, I think that is all the administrative stuff, so why don't we go ahead and get in with the knitting. I do not have any FOs this week, not a single one. Yeah, I didn't get anything finished. I do have some hose, though, so I will show those and take those into whips, but no fully finished objects. My first hoe is a whip that you guys saw last week, and it is my Query Fibers sock. Just a sock. So this is knit out of Query Fibers, Q-U-A-E-R-E, and the colorway is Peacock, and it is just the most awesome colorway ever invented. I am so in love with all of these colors. And so I went ahead and I finished up this first sock, and I had the heel to do, and normally I will use the yarn that, for the heel, starting at the same spot that I finished, that I did where I'm going to put my heel. So I'll start with that same color. So the heel is in this deep purple color. So I normally would take this and go to the deep purple color and then start there. But I am loving this so much that I would like to have enough left over for some fingerless gloves. So I went ahead and got into my minis stash and pulled out this. This is the very last dregs of a Little Lolo in the colorway Ow, I Feel Good, which I am using for the heel of this first sock. Now, I don't have enough to make the heel of the second sock, unfortunately. This is all that I have left. So I'm not exactly sure yet what I'm going to do. I do have this in Sweetness, which is also a Little Lolo, and I think complements nicely. But a friend of mine was like, there's no orange in that sock. So she suggested that I use some of this Unknown in a yellow, which also goes nicely. So I haven't decided yet which one I'm going to use. But one of these will be the heel for the second sock. So anyway, I have this first sock done. The ends still need to be woven in. And then I have cast on for the second sock. I just have a little bit of a toe. But these are super fun. Just a spoiler alert, there is some Queer Fiber in my yarn haul. And I will show you later because I'm enjoying this colorway so much that I want to have some more in my stash to knit. And I am keeping that in this cute little bag. I don't know where this bag came from, unfortunately. I may have claimed it in the swap thread. I think I might have done that, just simply because it was orange and Dr. Seuss. It is a drawstring bag. Whoop, as you can see, it has this beautiful blue interior, and it is perfect for a sock size, for, socks. It's small, and I love it for socks. So, so I have this, the Lorax. It's Lorax, if you don't recognize that. And yeah, I'm enjoying that sock. But I am also enjoying the other sock that I have a hoe of, and that is my Hippo for Valentine's socks. So if you recall, I am just enjoying, not holding myself to, but giving myself the opportunity to knit. Lolo did its Hippo for the holidays this year. I did it all last year, and I loved it. And I'm kind of just taking this year 1 month at a time. So I knit Hippo for New Year's in January, and then Hippo for Valentine's in February. And the reason why I chose Valentine's, because if you recall, I knit Hippo for Valentine's last year into these awesome speckled space socks. I used a different base. I used her more inexpensive base. I don't remember what it was called, but it was the cheapest, and I wasn't as big of a fan of that base as I am of the plush sock. So I went ahead and decided, because I wanted it in the plush sock, because I wanted it with contrasting heels and toes, which is what I've been doing with my Hippos for the holidays, and because she slightly changed this colorway, I went ahead and purchased it, and so I'm making my Valentine's socks. First one's completely done, as you can see, and the second one is just a toe. So I will get going on that pretty soon. I want to get these finished by the end of February, although I still have another month before I would actually have to have them done if I was doing the KAL, which I haven't decided whether or not I am or not. Whether or not I am. Full stop. I do want to get the new Hippo for the holiday colorways that she's putting out. So she put out Hippo for Mardi Gras, which she didn't do last year, so I went ahead and got that one. But she did Hippo for St. Patty's again and didn't change that colorway, and I didn't buy that one, so I am showing some restraint. Anyway, that is the first one done for Hippo for Valentine's. You should see the second one finished next week. And then the third sock FO, or whip, that I have going is a slow-going one. And that is mainly just simply because it's not as much fun to work on, and it's kind of fiddly. But I do work on it here and again, and I have made some progress from last week. And that is my Rainbow Wanderer socks. So you can see my rainbow is wandering, and I have turned the heel. So I've just got the foot left to do, and I'm starting the decreases. There's this nice little thing, hopefully you can see that goes down the side of the foot, or the leg rather, and then it also goes down the heel flap. So it's going to go all the way down to the ground, and I kind of love that. I think that was really cute. So, so yeah, there it is. I am knitting this out of Bewitching Knits in the Rainbow Dash colorway, which came with 6 minis in all the rainbow colors, and then this main skein with this beautiful, like, robin's egg blue color, or I guess Rainbow Dash color. The pattern is the Rainbow Wanderer socks, as I said. They're fun socks. I'm sure that I'm going to love the finished piece. They're going to be fun to wear and fun to show off, but I have to say that it's fiddly. You have all of these single stitch strands, 6 different ones, that I have to uncoil every couple of inches, and so yeah, it's a lot better now that I've gotten past the point where there's almost no raindrops left. There's a textured pattern here that follows a rain pattern, and it gets lighter as you go down, and that was the most fiddly bits, but now that I'm getting to where it's just stockinette for the foot, it's a little bit faster. So yeah, gotta love them, but I don't absolutely love making them. That's okay. You know, not everything has to be a plain stockinette sock, Christy. Sometimes you can actually put some effort in. Okay, and then last week I showed you guys my Boss sweater by Jimenez Joseph, and I was working on the back, and I showed it to you, and I said that I might have the back finished by the time I got to podcasting this week. However, I made no progress on it. I set it aside. I decided I didn't really want to work on it right yet. Part of the reason is because we're watching the Olympics a lot, and that means I have to be able to watch the Olympics, and the Boss sweater, which looks like this, is all lace, and so it takes more. I have to look at what I'm doing, especially because it's 100% silk yarn and it's on big needles, so I really have to pay closer attention, and so I've kind of put it aside. But I've started another sweater, and I've made good progress on this one. I'm enjoying it quite a bit more, and I got past the fiddly bits, so I'm able to just knit stockinette and knit it while I'm watching the Olympics. So this pattern is called the Snowflake. I think it's just called Snowflake. But it is a pullover, and it is designed by Tin Can Knits, and it's knit out of gorgeous yarn, and I'm absolutely loving it. Yarn first. Let's show you the thing first. So here, it starts with a lacy panel that goes over the shoulders and the top of the chest, and it's a snowflake. I don't know if you can see the snowflakes. Maybe there. There, you can see one of the snowflakes there. And it took some quite a lot of attention for this part, but it went pretty quickly. This is knit out of the Verdant Griffin, which is an indie dyer, has been around forever, and I absolutely love her work. The colorway for the purple, which is just the most beautiful, rich, tonal purple, it is called Dirty Deeds Done with Sheep. Which I think is an awesome name. And this is in her Traveler base, which is her DK. You can see here there is, I've got some light bulb stitch markers that are holding this together. There will be a button panel, placket, that I will put here, because right now it's open. You knit the lace part flat. And then the rest of the sweater is done in another color. I think the example has it in a solid. I chose to go with just the most heavily variegated yarn, because why would I do what I should do? And so I have picked this. This is also the Verdant Griffin in her Traveler DK base, and the colorway is kind of a long name. Let me find a. Here we are. Madagascan Sunset Moth. And it is absolutely delightful. I am loving it. I think it's working so well with this sweater. Now, of course, because it is indie dyed and because it is variegated, I am alternating skeins. And you will tell real easy why that was such a good idea. Because here are the 4 skeins that I've got. They are 4 completely different shades, I guess, depths, darknesses. So what I have done is I have taken the lightest and the very darkest, and I am alternating these 2 right now. And then when these get finished, I will alternate these 2, which are in the middle, and I'm hoping that by doing that, the sweater will look cohesive. But it is such a pretty colorway. It has so many gorgeous shades of color in it, and I love it. And I will say, this is important to remember, these, when I had them in the skeins and the hanks, they looked pretty gosh darn similar. Gosh darn. And I couldn't really tell much of a difference between them, but when I wound them up, it was much more significant. So just keep that in mind when you're doing indie dyed yarns. But they're fun to knit with, and I will link her shop down below, because this is old stash. I've had this for a long time, but I think that if you're into indie dyed yarns, then she is a dyer that you should check out, because she's very talented and been around for a long time. I think 7 years at least. Yeah, so yeah, fun. And I am absolutely loving this sweater. And I have this, I didn't mention the other bags, blasted. I have this in my Alice in Wonderland bag. And for those of you who were asking last week, this is the bag that was hanging right here. I don't know where it came from either, unfortunately, but it is beautiful, and it's got one of my favorite Alice illustrations of the Tea Party, and these great bamboo handles. It's an open bag, holds lots, couple of pockets. It's perfect. In my I had my Valentine socks in my Erin Lane Doctor Who sheeple bag, and then I have my Rainbow Wanderer socks in my other Lorax bag, and this is by Studio in the Green, and it is perfect because it has a, I don't know if you can see, there's a divider right there in there, and so I keep the main color on one side of the divider and all the little minis on the other side. But yeah, I am thoroughly loving this sweater. It's top down, obviously. You knit the lace flat, and then you join in the round to do the rest. And yeah, I'm just really loving the way that this is just perfect. It's just perfect. I hope it stays this way. I am going to do some shaping later on. Because I'm smaller here than I am at my waist, I did a smaller size for the chest part, and then I will increase when I get down closer to my waist. So I won't have like decreasing and then increasing. I'm just going to increase like that. So hopefully it will continue to look this beautiful and mottled when I get there. It's just gorgeous. Just enjoying it so much. So much. Have I mentioned that I like this sweater? And that's it. That is all that I am knitting. So, it's fine that when I don't have an FO, I don't have as much to talk about. I do have like the most ridiculous yarn haul ever. And I'm going to warn you ahead of time, there's like 25 different skeins to show you. Yeah. I made an order on Eat Sleep Knit for a sweater's quantity, and then, oh, I cut my hair. I didn't even mention that. I cut my hair. Sorry. Yeah, I'm hoping that it'll work out better with my hearing aids. So yeah, I'm not sure exactly how I feel about it. I did want something shorter because, as I said, I can't put my hair behind my ears because of my hearing aids. I'm hoping that this will work out better. I'm still early days, so we'll see. But as I was saying, I bought a whole sweater's quantity on Eat Sleep Knit because I wanted it, and there you go. And then my yarn shop, my local yarn shop, Colorful Yarns in Centennial, had a trunk show for Nerd String, and I fell in love with entirely too much during the trunk show, and so I bought another sweater's quantity. And there was some sock yarn purchased here and again throughout that as well. So, if you don't like watching the haul portions of podcasts, then I'll say that would be the end probably, because I'm gonna haul my yarn and then I'm gonna talk a little bit about books, and that'll be kind of it. So, yeah, just know that there's lots of yarn coming. Okay, let's start with maybe chronological order. How about that? So first, I got an order from Giddy Yarns, who is quickly becoming one of my top 10 favorite indie dyers. And in the past, I've called her Giddy Knits, and I apologize. Her podcast is called Giddy Knits, but her yarn shop is called Giddy Yarns, and it is by Helen, who is just a very talented dyer. And she does those 70-gram sock sets that I like so much. So you have a 50-gram main skein and then a 20-gram heel, toe, and cuff skein, and I just absolutely love those. So I picked out two. This first one is just gorgeous. This is Vampire Kiss, and so it has this like red with some like black undertones as the main skein, and then this beautiful purple for the heel, toes, and cuffs. Absolutely love this, but my favorite is this one, and it is called Regeneration, and it has a TARDIS blue for the heel, toes, and cuffs, and I'm absolutely in love with this colorway. This orange is gorgeous. She had this in her shop in a prior update as a full skein, and I almost got it then, but I'm like trying to, whatever. I didn't get it for whatever reason, and then she released it as a sock set with the TARDIS blue, and I said, well, I can't. Might as well give up the fight and buy it now. So anyway, I absolutely love this. This is one of the ones that I'm hoping to knit up soon. And then came the two I ordered from Quare Fibers. These aren't quite as bright as the Peacock, but I still think that I'm going to love them. This one is Flow, and see if I can post a picture of the listing so you can see how it knits up, because that's one thing that she does really nicely is she wraps it around a pole, and you get an idea of what the striping pattern is going to be. So Flow looks like this, and you can see why I purchased it. And then the other one I got is Outlandish, and it looks like this. And I thought they both were beautiful, and yeah, and I love this base, and I'm just enjoying knitting those Peacock socks so much. So yeah, this is in it's a 75-25 merino blend, 463 yards, so it is on the light side, but that's not a problem for me. And I didn't mention, with Helen's yarn, it is also a 75-25 blend. Okay, and then I got one more sock yarn. I'm super excited about this one. This is from one of my absolute favorite dyers, Carrie at the Creative Obsession. She has gotten a new base, and I was very excited to try it. And I'm so glad that I ordered it. I got it in this colorway, which is Mink. And you can see it's mostly hues of brown, but there are some beautiful blue speckles and some green speckles in there as well. I think this is going to be gorgeous knit up. And this is her new base. As I said, it's cushy. It's called the Cushy Sock Base. It is an 80-20 blend, 432 yards. Although, Carrie, you might want to check, because this says that there are 43,200 yards. I don't know if you caught that yet. But anyway, yeah, just absolutely thrilled to be able to try out Carrie's new base. It is super squishy, which is my favorite kind, and I love an 80-20. I mean, I like a 75-25 too, don't get me wrong. I don't have a massive preference of one over the other, but if I had to choose just one, I would probably choose an 80-20. So super fun, and I'm super excited about these. I might hide this, because I think that Ron will see this and go, ooh, those should be socks for me, but I don't know that I want to knit them into socks for him. Okay, so that is all the sock yarn, or I should say, all the yarn that I bought with the intent to make socks. I did buy some other yarn that people choose to make socks out of, but I bought it for sweaters. So, before I get into the sweaters, let's go ahead and do some single skeins, or in this case, a double skein. I ordered from Eat Sleep Knit, as I mentioned. They have it's a yarnathon every year, and you get, store credit and little tchotchkes for the amount of yardage you purchase. And so I've never really been able to get past like the first level, but I thought, I maybe, since I'm working now, I can try to maybe buy a little bit more from them. So I did purchase these 2 skeins of Dream in Color Classy. That's their worsted base. It's 100% merino, at 250 yards each, and the colorway is Flower Drum Song, which is absolutely gorgeous, right? You cannot argue that these are 2 unbelievably gorgeous skeins of yarn. This right here is just, it makes my heart pitter patter. But not only are these gorgeous, but I love the Flower Drum Song. I grew up with the movie. I know that it's a stage musical, but I grew up with the movie, which is the same with, The Sound of Music, or My Fair Lady, or The Music Man. I mean, all of those. But I loved the Flower Drum Song, especially. I love musicals. I just love musicals, and I love it when they do it on film so that I can see everything really well. And because when you go and see them on stage, it's great, but unless you have great seats, you're kind of screwed. And I've never really been able to afford the really good seats. So anyway, love the Flower Drum Song, and love the colorway. So yeah. And then one other single skein that I got is this one, and this is from Nerd String. This was at the trunk show. I just couldn't help myself with this beautiful orange and mustard. This is in her DK weight, which is, how many yards? 231 yards, superwash merino, 100%. I'm thinking of maybe a hat with this. I saw it, first thing I saw when I walked in, and I was like, nope, that needs to come home with me. It just needs to. So, yeah, absolutely love this. It doesn't have a colorway name. I think that this trunk show was her trying out some new colors and seeing what got some hubbub, at the trunk shows, and then those will be ones that will become permanent members of her colorway palette. So none of them had names on them, which is kind of a bummer, because I'd like to know what she's going to call this. I'd like to hope that she's going to keep this in the shop, but we'll see. But she's a Colorado dyer, and I need to check out her shop more. I like buying local. I also like buying non-local. I also like buying international. I like buying yarn. I need to become independently wealthy so that I can buy yarn. All the yarn. Every yarn. Just all of it. I just need all of it. And on my quest to be that yarn buyer, I purchased a sweater quantity from Eat Sleep Knit. And it is all out of Malabrigo sock. I like Malabrigo sock. I always have. It's got a nice feel to it. I don't know that I necessarily knit it into socks very often. Not that I'm opposed to, but I do like the solids for other things. So I've used it for baby sweaters. I've used it for hats and those kinds of things. I like it. I just like it. It is, I think it's 100% superwash merino, and they're all kettle dyed. And so I'm thinking of doing colorwork yoked sweaters. Before I get into the yarn, let me tell you why. Not only have I been seeing them all over the place on all these podcasts where they're knitting these beautiful colorwork yoke sweaters, but I also recently came across this book, which is also part of my haul. This is Yolks by Kate Davies, and I ordered it from her website, which got me both the hard copy and the digital copy, which I absolutely love, so I can just print out the ones that I want instead of trying to make a copy off of here. But this is gorgeous, and this Madeline Tosh that I'm going to show you, I think I'm going to use for this sweater right here, which is called the Cockatoo Bray. Let me see if I can, yeah, the Cockatoo Bray. Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. There's so many beautiful yoked sweaters in here, and they all have kind of a story behind them, which makes me super happy. There's so much history about these types of sweaters and how they grew and progressed. So the whole first, I don't know, quarter of the book is just history, which I absolutely love. And then you get into the designs. So there's this beautiful poncho. Hopefully you can see that beautiful poncho. The Jokul. It's the Icelandic word for glacier. I'm going to have to make that. And then the epistrophe sweater, just beautiful. Like, there's, like, seriously, I want to knit everything on here. Keith Moon. I'm assuming after the drummer. Oh. Oh, I see. So it's a mod-styled sweater, and the drummer, Keith Moon, was a mod. There's, if you're not into color work, there's Fin Tree, which is a nice single-colored, with a pattern, textured stitches on the yoke. And then, oh, this one's beautiful. Buchanan. Absolutely lovely. Looks so great with that skirt she's wearing, too. And then Asta Solilja. What is that one? So pretty! Like, I want to knit all of these. Seriously. Have I said that yet? Foxglove. Another beautiful one that I considered for this new yarn. And then Bluebells. It just has bluebells on the yoke and the bands. And Frost at Midnight, which looks like, yeah, they use beads for the design on the yoke. That's cool. Little trees. And then lastly is this cable monstrosity, which is so awesome. Westering Home. Look at that. All those cables, so beautiful. I love, this is one of those ones where I want to make it just because I want to make it. But I don't know that I would, like, it would be flattering on me, but I just want to make it so much. It looks like it would be so much fun to make. And that is it, but it is such a fun book, and I'm so glad that I got a copy of it. So, yes, so I'm looking to make this, and I'm going to make it out of Malabrigo sock, and the main color is going to be this. Look at this blue. This is Reflecting Pool, which is color number 133, and I just love this color. From what I can see in this screen, it's coming up pretty true to color. It is so pretty. And then for the color work, so the blue is going to be what she's got in the brown, and then you need 6 different colors for this color work. And so I'm thinking that I can use these. I may not use all of these. I may come up with something different. But I've got color number 33, Cereza. I've got Violetta Africana, which is a beautiful deep purple. I've got Impressionist Sky, which is the perfect blue. I've got Lettuce, beautiful green, Terracotta, the most purple, perfect orange, and Ochre, which is yellow. So I got the rainbow, basically. And I don't know that I'm going to need, I know I won't need the entire skeins. I'm only going to need so much of them, and I don't know that I'm going to use these colors especially. If you notice on the cover, she uses white as kind of a main background color. I may do that. I may not. I don't know. But I have all of these Malabrigo skeins of sock that I am going to use to make a colorwork sweater. And then these skeins of Malabrigo sock I will use probably to make several colorwork sweaters. And use as heel, toes, and cuffs on other things. And make other colorwork things, because there's lots of yardage here, and I will only need so many yards just to do the colorwork on a sweater. So I kind of got them to be prepared for anything else that I would want to do with them at a later date. While I have a decent amount of sock yarn, I have very little that is in solids. I normally go with variegated or stripes, and so I find that it is nice to have some good solids in your stash. And I should say, one of these reflecting pools, one of these, what color is this? Yes, one of these reflecting pools, and this Cereza I actually already had in my stash. These weren't purchased recently. These I got at the on the yarn crawl in August, so they were already in my stash. Okay, so the last thing I have to show you is another sweater quantity, and it is all from Nerd String. I have been eyeing the Camaro sweater, which is by Tanis Fiber Arts, and I just love it. I think it's super cute, and it looks like something that would be fun to knit and fun to wear. So, and Nerd String had some gorgeous colors that were in the right weight of yarn, and I couldn't fight it. So the main color for my Camaro sweater will be this beautiful mustard. This is Good Day Sunshine. I've been looking for a good mustard ochre color to use for a sweater. I find that I've got so much blue and I've got so much orange, but not a good yellow. So this is what the main color of the Camaro sweater will be. And then for my stripes, I have orange because, you know, who are you talking to? This doesn't have a colorway name. This is one of the ones that she had unnamed. Then I have Julep, which is a beautiful mint. And then I have Rhymes with Seal, which is a beautiful teal. And then finally I have this one, which also doesn't have a name, but it's just a beautiful variegated. And you might notice that it has a lot of the colors that the rest of the sweater is in it. So that'll be the stripes for my Camaro, with this one as the main body. Super excited. Jeez Louise. There. Super excited about this sweater. This is going to be great. This is one that I want to cast on right now. Like, I wanted to cast it on 3 days ago. But I am waiting. I have other yarns that are deep stash that need to be used before I go and cast on brand new yarn. So there you go. That's all the yarn I bought. I don't normally have that much all at once, but it's just the way it went. Okay, so let's go ahead and finish off with books. I don't have a lot to say about books, but I did just this morning, I guess, finished the Book of Lost Things by John Connolly. And while when I first started this book, I was surprised at what it was and what it was talking about. I had kind of expected it to be, I don't know, different. I can't really explain. I expected it to be different, and it kind of, it threw me for a loop right at the beginning. But as I got into it, it became more and more magical and fantastic, and I found myself loving it by the time I was halfway through, and just enjoying every moment listening to it. And I really, really did love this book. I'm going to give it 5 stars. It's just, it's so good, so good. It's a great book for adults who loved fairy tales, and adults who like to read middle grade fantasy. This is not a middle grade book. This is definitely an adult book. There's some very adult themes, I guess, some adult content in here, and especially having to do with violence. But yeah, it was so good. It was so well written. The narrator did such a fantastic job. If you like audiobooks, I would highly recommend this one on audio. It was good. I just really loved it. I have another series by this author. This is the first one I've ever read by him, but I have his Samuel Jackson versus the Devil series, which is a trilogy. I don't know if it's an older, like if it's for adults as well, or if it's younger, or if it's more lighthearted. I don't know. We'll see. This is not a lighthearted book, but it did have some bits in it that were funny. There's some reimaginings of some fairy tales which were kind of enjoyable. So yeah, really, really, really recommend this. I really loved it. And then the next book I am going to be listening to is a man called that. I used to be able to say it right, but I think I've been saying it wrong for a long time. I've been saying Uwe, but I don't think it's Uwe. But let's go with Uwe. A Man Called Uwe by Frederick Bachman. Frederick Bachman is one of my absolute favorite authors. I have read everything that he has translated into English. He's Swedish, so all of his books get translated, and this is a book that I have already read. This is the first book that I read of his. I loved it. I listened to it on audio. In fact, I've listened to almost all of his books on audio, and I recommend them in that way. This one was awesome. It was such a great introduction to him as an author. So Uwe is a crotchety old man who isn't nice to anybody and just wants to be left alone, and yet his neighbors, for one reason or another, can't manage to leave him alone. And Frederick Bachman is amazing for having a story kind of go way out this way, and then it brings it all back. Like, everybody disperses. You have this initial thought of an opinion about every character, and then as the story goes on, you learn more and more, and you find out how they're interconnected, and how, you know, these people that you were certain were terrible are so lovable, and people that you thought were pretty alright are actually kind of not, and it just really, I say that his books renew my faith in humanity, and they really, really do. Every single time I finish one of his books, I'm like, I just want to hug my fellow man. So anyway, absolutely love this book. This is the book that got picked for February for my book club, and so we meet in a couple of weeks, and even though I've already read it, I'm going to listen to it again because it was so good, and I read it over a year ago, so it's time to read it again. So I'm really, really, really looking forward to this. And guys, I guess that's it. Okay, podcasts have been a little bit on the shorter side lately, and I think that's probably okay with everybody. Yeah, so anyway, I am going to now take the time to put all this yarn away. So yeah, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your Wednesday. Happy knitting. I'll talk to you guys later.